I'm going to throw a bowl with straight sides and a flat bottom. I've already centered this clay. I can tell it's centered because there's no undulation or bumping along on the surface. It's smooth everywhere. As soon as I've reached that state, I can open. So my middle finger is just behind center. I can see where my finger is going. I'm opening in a funnel shape. I'm supporting the hand that's pressing down on the clay with my left hand, so I have two hands for steadiness. Once I start getting close to the bottom, I'm going to measure the depth of the clay by using a needle tool, inserting it into the clay, and then putting my finger at the level of the clay, and then I have about 1/8 of an inch. Because there's no extra clay on this, I can have a really nice, even, flat bottom. So I'm going to compress that hole away, and now I'm going to open. So I'm going to put my hands back in the center and pull straight back toward myself, trying to keep my fingers level with the bat. Once I have that, I can compress the bottom, so I'm moving from the outside back toward the center. When we open the clay, we're pulling it open, and the compression is pressing the clay back the other way toward the center. So again, that's starting from the outside edge with the flat of your finger moving toward the center, just compressing the clay. I'm going to give it a small collar, so I'm going to hug the clay inward with my hands so that the walls are more vertical to begin with. Then I'm going to pinch on the outside and inside at the base of the wall and lift my hands as a unit. When I reach the rim, I'm going to pause and gently take my hands off. You always want to take your hands off nice and slow. Now I can compress the rim by gently holding on both sides and then lightly pressing down. So my fingers are making kind of a gate shape. Like so. If your walls were tending to flare out, you can collar and make them a little more vertical again. Collaring is when you use both your hands to press the clay inward and lift together as you're pressing inward. I'm going to make sure the wall has water. I don't want my hands to stick ever. I want the clay to slide through. Now I'm going to begin again and make a groove at the very bottom, and I'm going to lift my hands as a unit upward. So my hands are positioned so that they lift at the same time. My outside hand is just slightly lower than the inside hand, and I'm pinching like this, touching my hands at the top near the base of my thumb, and then lifting as I pull the wall. Now what I'm going to do is shape the walls. I'm going to compress the rim one more time. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my hand and I'm going to pull the clay out to my finger here. So I'm leaning the clay out and I'm sandwiching the clay between my fingers as I do this. I'm not trying to make it higher right now. I'm just leading the clay into the shape. After I do that a few times, I'm going to compress the rim again. The rim really has to stretch the most, so you want to keep it compressed so it doesn't tear. Now I can use a rib to further flare this out. So I'm pressing the clay onto the rib so it takes on that really straight edge. Then I'm going to clean up the clay by digging in at the bottom with this tool, just getting a little bit of that extra clay out of there, shaping the foot of this. And then at our studio we have some runny glazes. So from the very beginning I want you to think about making it so that there's a little step the glaze has to get over in order to get to the kiln shelf. So we're going to put a little groove right in the bottom of the foot that will give that glaze something to pause on. I'm going to clean off the bat while it's nice and easy. Clay's not all hardened on there. I'm going to make sure there's no water in the bottom of my bowl. And for the final thing, I'm going to wire off the pot. So I'm going to hold my wire nice and close. I'm going to hold one end by the handle, and then I'm going to grab the wire instead of looping it around my finger. That'll make it so your wire tool stays straight. And I'm going to pull this underneath by pressing down with my thumbs on the bat with the wire. You can do it more than once if you want, just to make sure it's really off. And then you're finished. You can let it get to a leather hard stage on the bat and then turn it over as soon as you can so that the foot can dry.